Welcome back. You're listening to Motivation Minute, where we unravel the timeless truths in that stack of books you've been wanting to read so that you don't have to. And this week, I'm Spencer Harrow, joined by Jariah Miller again. Welcome back, Jariah.
What's up, Spencer? And this week we have another special episode. So actually, a few episodes back, we were reviewing the book Jump by Steve Harvey.
Right.
And I was looking at my my book summaries online, and I was learning some more information about the book. I looked up on YouTube. I found an awesome video of someone who actually gave a very in-depth book review of that book that we were going to talk about in our podcast. And actually, he's actually on the podcast today. Welcome, Bo.
Jariah, Spencer, thank you for watching that book review, and thank you for having me on the show. Appreciate it.
Thank you for joining us, Bo. And you brought up this awesome book that we're featuring this week called High Performance Habits, and it's by Brendon Burchard. And kind of the key principle from the whole book is that to achieve high performance in any field, which is like consistent and long-term, that's how you're high performance, it boils down to having the right habits. Closest thing I thought about with this book was we read a book called Flow, I think, about...
Yeah, I've read that before.
Yeah.
Like a while ago.
Last year. And the interesting thing from that book was like you're in flow, that state when you have the intersection of the right amount of skill and the right amount of challenge.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same kind of concept with the right habits, because when you have the right habits that drive high performance, you feel fully immersed, you're enjoying the task you're doing, and you're confident you'll be able to figure things out. And that's something I really liked from this book.
The habits keep you in a state of flow.
Yeah.
That's very true. And I thought an interesting point is that like his habits are for people that are looking to be very successful, but also to be happy as they make their accomplishments and as they succeed. So it's not just about success. It's about like maintaining your happiness and like your health and relationships and like living a well-rounded life as well.
And these are like mental / like psychological habits that he talks about in the book.
Yeah, it's like personal and social. I think he broke it down into those categories.
Yeah. Like 3 of them were personal and then 3 were social. Then it's like 6 total.
Interesting.
So how about we kick it off with our favorite habit? I mean, they're probably
it's hard to pick.
It's hard to pick, isn't it?
It's really hard to pick.
Yeah, I wrote down 4, which means that 2 didn't make my cut. But my top one is raising necessity. Now, we're going to put this out of order, but raising necessity was my top. And the reason why is the principle there was be deeply curious, not just passionate about things, but obsessed with the topic. And here's what I found really interesting. The author gave this equation for how you become confident. And he says it's competence at the learning plus congruency, where you're real with others and not just faking it, plus being a connector, where you see the value in others. Take all that, put it in parentheses, and multiply it times curiosity. Curiosity is the multiplier. So like the more curious you are, the more potential for success you have. That is interesting.
Mm-hmm. No, I totally agree. You know what? It was really hard for me to choose as well, but I am going to also have to say raise necessity was my favorite.
We got 2 votes for raise necessity.
Because a lot of the other ones I knew that I was already doing. I kind of already knew about them. But raise necessity was something like I'm already doing it, but I didn't realize that I was doing it.
Uh-huh.
Like the whole concept of my YouTube channel, Whatever It Takes Motivation, is that to achieve big things, you have to do whatever it takes for any of your goals. And to do whatever it takes, you have to raise necessity and believe that it's like a necessity, that it's an absolute must that you need to succeed. So I thought that was very true. Like that part was packed with a lot of truth.
Yeah, like you talked about, it's not your passion, it's not a preference or whatever, but it has to be a necessity for you to actually do it, right?
Yeah, and it's like, if you think about it, how many people really make their success a necessity?
Yeah. It's like it's uncommon benefit on the side, or it's the goal, not the or it's the long-term thing, like it's going to come, that success. But not like right now it's what I need.
And did you see the part about the four ways that people make something a necessity? So he had 4 ways that people make something a necessity. And one of them was identity. Like you tie what you do into your identity, like who you are. That makes it like impossible to give up because like this is who you are. Like you can't do anything else. Your identity. And then
and it said like most people are scared to attach their identity to their performance, or it's like I've almost seen it like, oh, you shouldn't make what you do your identity, but I guess in some ways you should. Or
yeah, it is scary. It can be, but for me at least, I think it's the most motivational thing that you can do to get the work done. But at the end of the day, it's like it's impossible to stop doing something that's who you are.
Then it's part of you to do a good job, to be a high performer. It's who you are. It's like you have to.
And I think it's really difficult to do that in a career that isn't your passion.
True. So that's why passion's important with what you pick. Because I'm thinking like failure. Why would you want to wrap your identity up in what you do? Because if you failed, that means your identity failed, which is a real crisis. But maybe it's more than just because you could like compartmentalize your career completely or your passion, but then it's not really your passion anymore.
I totally know what you mean. Yeah, and I think if it's not something that you love, like if you're just forcing yourself to go to work, it then becomes really difficult for you to say this is attached to who I am. So I think passion and raising necessity just go hand in hand.
Right.
Cool. Yeah, that was also one of my top habits, but the one I think I'll pick is number 6, which was demonstrate courage. And it said that high performing people understand that struggling is part of the process, and when hard times come, they understand that they're okay with that. They're okay with people doubting, judging them. Like you talked about identity as well. Like they know who they are. They're able to share their truth more, and it said a quote was, they honor the struggle as necessary to forge the kind of character that will help them deserve the outcome they desire. Which was interesting. They deserve it. They understand that they're responsible, that they have to go through the hard things and deserve the outcome they desire.
Which is like last week's book. It starts with you, where it's really your decision. It's your decision to embrace the struggle so that you can hit the goals you're at.
Yeah, demonstrate courage was another good one. I thought his definition of courage was good. It's like taking action, like not in absence of fear and danger, but like in spite of danger and fear. Like there's danger, there's fear, there's stakes, there's like consequences, bad things that can happen, but you still decide to take action. And that's what courage is.
Rather than not taking action until you have to.
Yeah, and he said, like, high performers do that more than most people. They'll just take action regardless of, like, what can go wrong. I think that's very true as well.
Interesting. It said they don't just accept that it'll be hard, but they appreciate that working through the hard times is, like, necessary, which makes you less afraid. So it's like, even though it seems like a negative viewpoint, like hard things are going to happen, but no, actually if you accept that and you work through it, and you realize it's necessary, it actually makes you less afraid or makes you more prepared, I guess.
It's having that mindset of like you're staying ahead of yourself. So like he brought up 3 questions in the book that you could ask yourself at the end of the day, like, did I live fully? Did I love openly? Did I make a difference?
Yeah, which
is a great way to sum it up: live, love, difference. And if that's a mindset where you're in front, you're making the decision to act first versus let the situation act on you.
Interesting. What was another takeaway that you got?
It was tough to choose takeaways, man. This is actually one of the best books I've read, I think. Because I was actually got this book for $7.
Really?
I got a discount.
What do you mean?
Something a lot of these authors do, I don't know if you know about this, is they'll have like a funnel, an internet funnel. You know that term, funnel?
Like ClickFunnels or something.
Yeah, where they have like an offer.
Okay.
Usually through some kind of ad, and it's like, hey, click here to learn more about my free tutorial or my free product. And then you click there, and then they offer you something for free, and then they offer you a bunch of more expensive stuff. So it's like a funnel that leads you from cheap stuff to like really expensive stuff.
Yep.
So the cheap thing that he was offering was this book for $7.
Really?
So I was like, yeah, I'll just get this book.
Yeah.
Huh.
And then I didn't buy anything else.
So you have a hunger for like learning, or just like learning, like absorbing any new information.
Mm-hmm.
And would you say that's a unique trait that you have, as far as like just looking for information, reading books, not being skeptical, I guess, of like, oh, this is some scam, self-help, crap.
I've heard that from like a lot of people, like family, friends, who will have that cynical, skeptical attitude about self-help or motivation.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it was like something that I did during my hard times and during my dark times, in terms of like depression, mental health struggles. In 2011, like at a low point in my life, I gravitated towards motivational content, and I read books, and I looked at videos online, and I looked at motivational self-development content, and that was what helped me like get through the hardest moments of my life.
Wow, that is incredible.
So then I made
who you are now.
Mm-hmm. So because of that, it became like part of who I am.
Yeah. Which, as a person, you are enthusiastic, and that's one of the principles in the book about generating energy.
Yeah.
And so enthusiasm is really cool. I like to think that I'm an enthusiastic guy too about what I do, because I like to bring joy to whatever I'm learning. And it really frustrates me when people are not enthusiastic about things. There's this guy at work that I have to work with who, he like every time he learns something, he's sucking the energy out of the room, literally. He has a problem he has to solve. So what he does is he troubleshoots it, but then he tells you all the terrible stuff about how the troubleshooting went and all that he found out and how bad this thing is that he works with, and it makes it seem worse and worse. Versus the opposite thing you could do is actually like enjoy what you're doing and what you're learning, because you'll get somewhere faster and actually keep other people interested that way.
Yeah, I really identify with that part, like the generate energy. Like every successful person that I look up to has a ton of energy. Like Will Smith, Gary Vee.
Love Will Smith.
Like all the motivational people, Tony Robbins, Brendon Burchard, Eric Thomas, like all these guys have the most energy. And I think it's true. That's part of what it is.
Yeah, cut the energy out of the message and you're probably not interested anymore.
I wouldn't even watch. Exactly.
Right. Yeah. Well, I noticed in your videos, you have a lot of energy and passion. Like it shows in your videos, and so you have a YouTube channel called WhateveritTakesMotivation, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and you mentioned, so like the motivation was kind of part of who you are because of the times that you went through with it. Like I had kind of a similar story. You just look at like finding hope, I guess. Like I honestly think self-help is amazing. Like some people are skeptical or just they don't get it, I guess. But anyway, so like what do you do exactly on your YouTube channel? What type of content do you make? Or like, I guess, what inspires you to do your YouTube? And because you want to eventually do that full time, right?
Absolutely. So one of the first types of videos that got me into YouTube was, I don't know if you've seen them before. I call them cinematic motivation videos. It's like a short video with stock footage or footage from movies and commercials, and there's music in the background and there's a speaker in the background.
I like those. Yeah.
Yeah. So
who's got some enthusiasm?
I edit those, and I watch those like every day.
No way.
Yeah, around 2013, I just started watching these like
That's
every day.
cool, because it seems like cheesy, or it's like, that's just whatever. But I've noticed that from watching those videos, it actually motivates you to like, it makes you motivated. Like you hear the things often enough, like, and you like, whatever you want to call it, like it's just like creating a habit in your mind of
It
like
stirs up your emotion. Yeah, it's like a combination of like the energy of the video and then the information that the speakers are telling you.
And you said you do it every day, which if you just do it once, that's not going to do anything. It's like getting hyped up and nothing. But if you consistently do it, that's great. It makes a difference.
Absolutely. Yeah, whenever I'm in like a bad mood or I feel like unmotivated, I just watch one of those videos.
Wow, I need to start doing that more.
I'm skeptical of these videos. I feel like they're slightly fake because it's not real footage that the guy took sometimes, and it's like it's with just a scripted voiceover. So why does it work? Like what does it do for you?
Well, for me, it depends on the video.
Okay.
Like, the speakers have to be coming from like a genuine place. And they have to be speaking something like that's authentic to their lives and something that's like truthful, something that I see as true.
Yeah.
And not every speaker is going to like fit under that, what I think is true or that I identify with. But usually like the top speakers will be the most genuine people, like Les Brown. You guys know Les Brown?
I've heard, yeah.
No.
You should definitely look up Les Brown.
Okay.
Les Brown, Jim Rohn, Tony Robbins. Everyone knows Tony. Those guys, I think the reason like they're at the top is because they're genuine. They're authentic. They're not trying to like sell you on anything. They're not trying to scam people. They're legitimately just trying to help.
Yeah.
And I can kind of like sense that.
Same here. Because I have seen stuff with like, whether it's, network marketing people who are like giving you this fake, stuff about success and you could optimize your life or blah, blah, blah. There's a little bit of that cheesy stuff out there.
There's a lot of that. Yeah.
We're trying to get into it too fast and teach people when you haven't really learned yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a guy, Ty Lopez, who used to really annoy the heck out of me.
Really?
I don't know if you saw his ad. He had an ad where he would be standing in his garage and there would be some Lamborghinis there. And he's like, here in my garage, I've got these Lamborghinis, but you know what I like better than Lamborghinis? Knowledge. And there's like a bookcase behind him.
It's funny. Ty Lopez was actually one of the people that actually first got me motivated to like start my own business.
It had the opposite effect on Jiraiya. Yeah.
I mean, I think once you get to know him, he's like the real deal. But the commercial turn people off.
I'm going to say a little story just to brag or whatever, but I actually met him when I was like 4 years old.
Oh, really?
Because I grew up Amish, and he was, he talks about how he visited the Amish for a couple of years.
Yeah.
We were kind of like leaving the Amish, but we went back to visit our Amish cousins in Virginia, and we were at the community, like Amish community, and he was there, and I don't remember him, but I showed my dad a video, and he was like, he couldn't believe it. He remembers him. And I was like 4, so
that is so crazy. You're blowing my mind right now.
Pre-selfie days.
That's just a funny story. Like, it's crazy.
That's crazy because I've heard like Ty talking about that.
Yeah. Anyway, I think I honestly have a very like, sure. It's like with self-help, it's like, sure. It is cheesy sometimes, but it's like, it's training your mind to believe something. And I think whatever you believe, like you can achieve. Another self-help quote, but if you believe that you can be successful, you believe that you believe in yourself and all that, you will be successful. It's like conditioning your mind, you could say brainwashing your mind into believing so that you will actually do it, and it works. I mean, from personal experience and just from what I know, it works. But
yeah, that's what keeps me coming back. The results and the fact that it works.
Exactly.
And part of the thing that makes self-help work is when the person is genuine, like we've been talking about. And part of that comes from when you increase productivity. Another tip in the book.
Yeah.
Getting insanely good at key skills.
Yeah.
And it's the opposite of the mindset of, I hope that I'll maybe get better at this sometime, which is like what I'd say the majority of the workforce career-wise thinks and maybe is just trying to grow versus like deeply invested in growth. And the interesting thing the book brings up is that when you're a high performer, you're a specialist. You're not knowing a little bit about everything, a generalist. You are making deep knowledge dives into your area.
I thought that was a cool part of the book where he talked about gaining skills.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think, and he talked about like the fixed mindset versus the growth mindset.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like if you have the growth mindset, you believe that you can grow. So then you're actually looking to get skills because you believe you can grow. But if you have the fixed mindset, you think like your abilities are fixed. So you're never going to look for opportunities to grow because you think you're just going to not make a difference no matter what you do.
So grow versus fixed. I'm curious. You said you're a realtor, right? When we were talking earlier. So how does that work as a realtor? Can you grow or are you fixed? Because it seems like realtors a zero-sum game. There's only a certain number of houses and a certain number of people selling. How do you get better at your game?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of innate potential and growth mindset.
Okay.
Like you can grow, anyone can grow, but there's certain people that are just going to come in and just sell 100 homes and do really well. But then there's people that are going to come in and do 10 homes and they can gain the skills and put in the work and put in the practice and learn the information to be able to do 100 homes, but it's going to take them longer to get there. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
I think that's kind of like the default mindset that we start with is the fixed mindset, where whether it's with real estate or anything, it's like, oh, there's only a certain amount of things, possibilities, and I probably can't do it, you know? And it's like we just believe that we're just kind of stuck in the same level. You know, we don't, and that's what it comes down to is, yeah, it's so simple, growth versus fixed, but just believing that there are opportunities, that there are possibilities, and that completely changes how you do everything.
You've probably seen that, Joya, in your business where like it seems like filming is zero-sum too, where like you make a video for someone and then like you're just waiting for the next client, but you don't realize like sometimes one client leads to another, or someone sees your work and it's a lot more than just like Y equals X. It's exponential what can happen.
Definitely.
Right connections, you know.
Yeah, for me, like in my like YouTube career, I didn't intend on making these videos at first. At first I was just watching them. So I had to like believe that I could grow and believe that I could learn how to edit, learn how to talk on camera, and learn all these skills that I didn't have. Because I believed that I was able to do it.
Yeah.
Crazy. And now you've reached where you are now, and you got you got a pretty good following just starting out. And like I have no doubt that you're gonna like I have no doubt in my mind that you're gonna like continue to grow and be like really successful on YouTube. And
appreciate that, man.
Yeah, it's
and you guys.
Thank you. Yeah, definitely check out his YouTube channel, Whatever It Takes Motivation, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I was honestly so impressed by like your videos, your like how in depth you are, but also fun to watch, like passionate about it, very knowledgeable. Like, yeah, it's awesome.
Thank you, man. It feels good to like actually hear the feedback from a person. It's a lot different from like a comment.
Exactly.
Yeah, you don't get to like really see the feedback often.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's cool though that I just left a comment on your video and then you responded. That meant a lot that you did that. And yeah, it's cool that I'd be able to reach out and talk to people in real life, and it's really cool to have you on the show.
Yeah, and I like the work that you guys are doing. Like reading has changed my life, and I think the world would be like a much like happier, healthier, better place if more people read.
Yeah.
Especially these kind of books.
It's getting new ideas into your brain that weren't there before, that you're not going to get by talking to just anyone on the street. It's like picking a targeted idea to become specialized in a sense, like what you're learning, and to grow that deeply and water that seed.
Yeah, it's kind of like, you know, in the movie The Matrix, when they upload information into their heads.
Yeah.
It's kind of similar to that. I mean, it's a longer process than instantly like that. But it's like you can upload whatever information that you want, like right into your head.
Crazy.
Just find the book that has it.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy. It's so cool to think of it like that, where you're downloading stuff into your brain and changing the way you think, which is going to change what you do. And it does start with that. Like, yeah, it's hard. It's hard when you don't believe it, when you don't have belief in the first place, you know, and then, but I think also knowledge is important, you know, knowing that you, so that you know it's possible, so that you can believe it's possible, you know. There is a problem of just getting too much into the books and then not actually having the action, you know.
That's true.
But that's actually one of the struggles, because it's easy to read, not as easy to actually do it.
Yeah. That's why I try to put a cap on like how much I read per day, because like you feel good while you're reading, and it's like easy. It's like seductive to just like stay in that feel good feeling.
It's like when you take a class, you feel good when you're in the class and you finish the course, but there's still the test, and you haven't really, if you haven't absorbed the material, it's not, you don't have it yet. You just feel good because you feel like you've been learning, even if it's passive.
Yeah, you definitely need that combination of like learning and action.
Yeah.
I think if you just take action your whole life, you might not get anywhere with it, because you don't know if you're going the right direction.
You got to balance.
If you have that balance, then you're taking action, but you know you're going in the right direction. You're doing the right action.
You're going 0 if you're just reading.
Exactly.
If you're taking all action, you're going 100 in circles, but you can really hone that in.
It's a good way to put it.
Exactly.
Well, it's been awesome to have you join us on the podcast, Bo. Thanks for coming on with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. It's been a pleasure. Absolutely keep up the fantastic work, and I'm sure we'll like collaborate more.
Oh yeah, and well, check out his YouTube channel. It starts with you motivation, where you've got
whatever it takes motivation.
Oh, whatever it takes motivation. Yeah, you should be able to just no worries. You should be able to just type whatever takes motivation into YouTube.
So check out his channel, Whatever It Takes Motivation, where you can see his new cinematic motivation videos he was talking about.
It's catching on.
That's right. And some book reviews, which hopefully you're going to ramp up again soon, I think you said.
Absolutely. Yeah, look out for a book review on this book, High Performance Habits.
How about that?
Yeah.
And can you believe it, a competing book review?
Watch our podcast first.
Friendly book review. Friendly.
Yeah, exactly. And you said you had the goal of writing a book at some point?
Yeah, actually in 2015, I wrote a book, and it was like,
really?
It was like a personal like autobiography. Like half of it was autobiography, half of it was self-help.
Okay.
Something I never published. It's just something I did to see if I could do it.
Proof of concept.
Yeah. And at the same time, I found myself like as I read that book. Like I wasn't really into motivation.
So that was for you basically, writing that book.
Absolutely. And right now I'm working on a second book that's like for the world that I'm going to publish.
Oh, cool.
Interesting.
We'll look forward to seeing that.
If you ever do write it, publish it, then we'll have to have you on the show again to talk about it.
Absolutely. Of course.
Yeah. Well, thank you for listening as well. And if you want to hear a book like this, we do it every week. Just tap subscribe and you won't miss any action. Check out our survey at motivationminute.com actually, just go to motivationminute.com and click the survey button. And we'd love to hear the books you want to hear. And you can even be considered as a guest on the podcast like Bo here. So thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.
See ya.
Ready? Cool.
See you guys.